The content, views, and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the producer and do not necessarily reflect their views and opinions of the City of Bremerton, BCAT, their officials, or their employees. Hello, Mark Miller here, once again with Kitsap Literary Artists and Writers, Creative and Artisan Showcase. Today I have Ivan Weich. He's one of the newer authors with our group, and we're going to be discussing his book and also some of his career that led to his book in his writing. We shake hands?
Yes,
how you doing?
You. Doing good.
So, starting out, of course, is because you write, basically, we call them mysteries but / crime thrillers, because traditional mysteries, very few people actually write traditional mysteries anymore. So what was your background to do with any type of law enforcement, stuff like that led you into writing into that type of genre?
Well, to begin with, I have a 2-year degree in law enforcement investigations from Miramar College. I also attended a 4-week police reserve academy. It was offered through the community college district. And I also started as a security agent for a shopping center. We covered 4 square blocks in the northern part of San Diego. And there I met the last boss there was a retired homicide detective. So we sat back and drank coffee, and he would tell me about some of his typical daily grind. It can start anywhere in the middle of the night or as late as 8 o'clock in the morning where he's at the office. And one of the things he always told me, the real drag was when the pager goes off in the middle of the night and he's in bed sleeping, the pager goes off, the phone rings, the wife elbows him and says, "That's for you."
Yes.
So I got to know him for about 9 months, and then I went to work for the department as a reservist. My occupational series was detective's aide, and I was pretty much a volunteer. I was a desk jockey. So I never went to the field, but I took what I learned, and I also got to see the inner workings of the department. I started out in teletype. I then went to telephone report unit, then jail administration, and then finally I was assigned to major crimes. I did robbery, homicide, some arson, and occasionally they asked me to man a tip line for the narcotics division. That was kind of interesting, but the biggest one was doing robbery, homicide.
Yeah.
The only thing that I could not do at the end of the day is tell people what cases I worked on.
Yeah.
Because I work behind the scenes, and number 2, one of the greatest fears that I could think of is I say something and a case gets reopened and an alternative theory of the crime occurs.
Exactly.
And it's like we put in all this energy and work, and for somebody to go and reopen, it's like, this is not good.
No.
From there, I went to work for the Social Security Administration. I started in the teleservice center where we answer the 800 number. From there, I transferred up here in 1999 and began work in the Seattle office for 9 months, and then was assigned to the Bremerton office, which is now the Silverdale office. And from there, I was promoted to claims representative, and that's where I finished out my tour. And along the way, I managed to do some details to public affairs, technical expert, and also I did what they refer to as protective payee audits, where we go and we audit the protective payees that take care of our most vulnerable people. And then at the tail end of my career, I was doing stewardship, fraud investigation, and overpayment collections.
That's what I was wondering, because I know we had discussion before about the fraud and everything, and of course it's all in the news right now, but people don't understand just how much fraud there is out there floating around, especially when you're dealing with any type of public funding or charitable funding and things like that. It just seems to be so easy that somebody can slide into the system and start grabbing the money.
It is, in spite of all the safeguards everybody puts in place, there's always somebody behind the scenes finding a creative way to get around that. So it's like you have to be creatively thinking more and more to try and stop the fraudsters. And so when I retired and the pandemic came along, I took whatever skills I had and I applied for a private investigator's license. And I do, based on my background, I do workplace investigations.
Right.
But occasionally I will take on other investigations depending on the complexity of it and how much resources are needed. And I do have a network of other investigators that I can contract with if I need to. But the background, I would say, for the book has been everything from community college all the way up through the civil service.
Yeah. Well, the question I've got real quick is that since you're working now as a private investigator, can you, with your company, get access to databases like LexisNexis without having an attorney involved?
LexisNexis, no. I believe you still have to be a member of the bar.
Okay.
But there is another program through one of their sibling networks called IRB Search.
Oh, okay.
That is available to attorneys, and it's also available to private investigators. The other thing is the court records. The electronic version is available to attorneys, but also to private investigators, as long as you show them your license and you pay the fee. And you also agree that if something in there is marked confidential, do not disclose, you can't make it public.
Right. And so they have a definite, like you said, you've got the databases that the general public can see, but then you've got those more restricted databases that's part of the legal system. Like you said, private investigators, lawyers, prosecutors, stuff like that.
Yes. If I need something from LexisNexis and Westlaw, if there's an attorney assigned to the case, I would certainly ask him to help out. Likewise, if an insurance company asks for me to help with a case, since I cannot get access to credit reports, I would ask that insurance company to get it for me, because they have the contractual relationship and they have a bona fide business reason for it.
Right.
So if I want to do an insurance investigation on one of their insured, I'd say, well, can you get me their credit report? Because one of the motives that's out there is financial gain.
Oh, yeah.
And in many cases, it's to get out from underneath all the credit.
Right, because somebody owes somebody money, and all of a sudden they think, well, if I go ahead and do this scam over here, I'm going to get so-and-so over here off my back.
Or the other.
Yeah.
Fire investigation is one of them.
Oh, yeah.
And one of them we had, I know comes up from time to time in Social Security Administration, is the fake death.
Yeah.
And there are safeguards in place that we watch for that. And if it is a presumed death and we pay the claim, we put a special alert on that file that says, watch for the following.
Right.
And it stays on there for life.
Oh, okay. I think that's interesting, because I had never heard of the fact that they actually would put a tag on something for life, because I know that the flip side of that is somebody dies, it's getting Social Security, and the relatives keep cashing the checks and everything for the next 10 years until somebody goes, wait a minute, I thought so-and-so died,
But this is a unique case. When I was over in Seattle, I was assigned to what they call Death Alert, which is, I examine the death alerts that come in from Office of Personnel Management, Department of Defense, Medicare, and if we don't have a verified death, we make one phone call, and if the person doesn't answer the phone and answer our questions, we send a certified letter. if somebody says they're in a nursing home, we find out which nursing home are they in.
Yeah.
We had one person who was so evasive, they kept cashing the checks, and the person was already dead for a whole year. Yeah. And when we finally got the date of death from the coroner's office, we typed the information in. The first thing it did was it notified the Treasury Department
Right.
to go back and reclaim all that money if they can.
Yeah.
And if they can't, they start overpayment collection.
Exactly.
And my boss called me into the office and said, I want you to tell me exactly word for word what this person said when you talked to them.
Yeah.
Because now they're asking for a waiver. And it's like, I said, don't even bother. It's like, it's a slam dunk. The person lied to us. They said the person was in a nursing home, when in fact they've been dead over a year.
Yeah, and because they just wanted to keep cashing the checks, from Social Security. And I think that's probably turned into one of the biggest scams, is somebody collecting somebody else's welfare, Social Security, whatever, because they were living together and the other person died, and then they basically said, well, I'm not going to tell anybody. And we'll just keep cashing the checks. And I know how to sign their signature. And of course, then it comes into whether they want to go criminal or just civil against them, things like that.
But one of the things I remember one FBI agent telling me years back on another case was, even if we have jurisdiction, if the recovery is not less than $25,000, they will not touch it because it costs too much money to prosecute it.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I think other people don't understand too, is that anytime a case comes up, we ran into this because I did financial investigations with the federal government. And one thing the banks and credit unions look at is, okay, this person tried to float the Nigerian prince check, the old scam over the internet and all this stuff. Other than canceling all of their financial arrangements with us and their accounts and everything, do we really want to go after this person, legally? Because like you said, cost analysis, is it worth it? How much was involved? Has this person been doing this scam before? Or has this person been a victim of somebody who has multiple people helping them with the scam? That's the other thing we used to run into.
Yes. I do remember also when I started work at SSA and we went over banking procedures and direct deposit. To this day, the bank still has a version of what is called the Green Book, which is the working Bible of financial institutions on how to do direct deposit, how to do reclamation. Reclamation is where they actually go back and reclaim the money from the account and send it back to the government. And it's in bold letters that banks are financially liable. The very minute they learn of someone's death, they have to send the money back. So one of the things that I like how SSA, when I worked there in 2001, they signed into law a clause that says that if you provide, as a claimant, you provide false or misleading information in order to get benefits, even if you're not prosecuted, they can stop your checks. On a first offense, it's 6 months. A second offense is 1 year. And I think third or subsequent, I think it could be almost, I know it's going to be more than a year, but.
Did they have something in there to do it permanently?
No.
Okay.
I think the maximum is 24 months.
Oh, okay.
But it's enough to wake some people up. It says, I guess I better not lie anymore.
That's unique, though. I'd never heard that there was that stepping stone with the Social Security Administration and when it comes to payment and stuff like that. And it'd be interesting for people out there that are on Social Security that have ever had any problems that, something they need to think about.
Yeah. And it even says so in every statement now that you sign at Social Security, that if you knowingly make a false statement, you can face fines, imprisonment, or both. But when it comes down to a critical decision, either check it out or pay it out, or it's so marginal and they think something's wrong, they will put another form in front of you that says, I understand under this new provision, if I provide any misleading information, false information in order to obtain a benefit, I will be subject to non-payment of benefits as follows. First offense, 6 months. Second offense, 12 months.
Now, going to your book,
Yes.
because it's about homicide, is there any type of fraud or something involved in the story?
In the story, no, they are pretty much straight up. The overall theme is this is a serial murder case involving
okay.
a person who tried to enter a police academy and get hired by various police agencies, and he basically is blackballed. So he decides to
Get revenge.
team up with somebody who's from another country who gets him in the academy.
Okay.
And as an open enrollee, and they fund everything. But in the end, in addition to the series that's in the book, there are also other crimes that occur through the city that the investigator has to investigate.
Right.
There is a domestic shooting in an apartment. There's also an assault on the beach that results in a pregnant woman being taken to the hospital. The baby dies.
Ouch.
Yeah. And that's pretty much in this book. In book 2 that I have in the works right now, there's not really any fraud in it. There is some concealment of information by others, but the information is found out later. And like I said, that book is still in the works. It's in the editing
Right.
phase right now. But this book starts out looking through the eyes of the victim in the first chapter. And then in the second chapter is the main character goes from patrol sergeant and is promoted to homicide.
Yeah. Okay, so he winds up hitting the ground running, basically.
Yes.
Okay. Same character in the second book?
Yes, I'm trying to keep to the same series. So there are sequels, but different themes.
And it's a large city police department.
Yes, it's all San Diego.
It is all San Diego. Okay. Do you have any, I guess, do you show the interplay between agencies and federal, state, local, and stuff like that?
Yes, as a matter of fact, there is frequent interactions in here with the Federal Bureau of Investigation,
Okay.
with their lead investigator, and he identifies who the primary suspect is behind all of the homicides.
Right, because of the international connection.
Correct.
Okay. What people don't, when you're talking about the police academy, and I think a lot of people don't understand, is that most departments now have a battery of psychological tests.
Yes.
And they've got all these, they call them phasic exams and things like that you have to take. And they are pretty good about weeding out people with, shall we say, some mental problems.
Yes.
Fixations, fetishes, stuff like this. Anything that might impact their ability to be in law enforcement. That's, like you said, that can be very frustrating to people that really, for whatever reason, want to be police. But then when they start going through the psychological exam, the various departments take a look at it and they go, oh, I'm sorry, but you have anger issues, you have this issues, you have that issues. You're a liability looking for a place to happen, so no, go apply to somebody else.
Yes. But the other side of it is also
Yeah.
true that there are good people who go through the academy as an open enrollee.
Right.
And departments, when they're short on personnel and they're having difficulty recruiting at their end,
that's
they will
true.
go up and down the state looking in academies to say,
Yeah.
who are your best picks that are open enrollees? And then they will look at them and they'll interview them on
Yeah.
the spot. I'm not sure if they get picked up or not. But to even come in as an open enrollee,
Yeah.
whether it's regular or reserve, they will still do a criminal investigation on you
Yeah.
before you are exposed to anything that's confidential.
And of course, speaking unfortunately from the voice of experience, that background investigation is only as good as the agent doing it.
That's correct.
When I was working for U.S. Customs down in Florida, we had a case where somebody got hired who never should have been hired because they had a sealed indictment against him in the state of Colorado. and it never came out because the guy who was doing the background investigation was a stone cold alcoholic. And so he just signed off, pencil lipped everything. Well, this guy went on to become involved in a major drug smuggling operation, and it looks like he helped get some people to, shall we say, abscond, even though he got one guy out of prison to do as an informant, and he did it under completely false pretenses. Turned into a huge mess, and that guy was actually my roommate at we went to a boat handling course together. And I didn't realize it at the time, but later on I was working internal affairs at El Paso, and they had to come interview me because everything had blown up back in the Miami area. So unfortunately, people do slip through.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
I remember back when I worked at SSA, I had done some work as a union official for the employees.
Yep.
I remember we went back to a building security conference in Baltimore, and we were talking about how some people are slipping through the system who should not have been hired. And they said it is all in the background. They are taking too long to do. By the time the person completes probation, the background is complete and it's a mess.
That happens, and that's the problem. There was a case just before I left El Paso when an agent had this case of there was a smuggling ring that was stopping the trains along the border, and they knew what boxcars to hit that had all the electronic gear and everything. Because the tracks are like 100 yards from the border, so they'd throw a switch or they'd rip up part of the track or something. They come running out. They knew what boxcars to break open. They were under custom sealed, coming from San Diego or LA, and they knew where all the computers were and everything. Well, they found out it was an inside job. There was a security guy giving the information. That guy got hired by Border Patrol down in San Diego because nobody knew that he was part of this gang. Okay. Well, this all came out, so he was just in the process about to get off probation, and they walked over and arrested him on the job. So, they definitely hit the papers. But yeah, unfortunately, no system is 100%, and then you try to make up for, your mistakes like that.
Well, when I went to try and settle a case for a probationary employee, the agency representative came back to me and said, Ivan, because of the nature of his conduct, we cannot allow a clean resignation because it would be so easy for him to get back in.
Exactly.
And he said, I will tell you right now, Ivan, the reason I say that is we have a case in Los Angeles where we have an employee on probation. His background just came in, and he has an outstanding warrant for arson. He set his prior employment establishment on fire.
Oh, Jesus.
He said, I had to escort him out, but the first thing I said to the manager was, make sure you take away his matches and his cigarette lighters. I said, don't forget the lighter fluid.
Exactly. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today. And once again, I greatly thank you coming here.
Yes.
And here at Bremerton Kitsap Access Television, of course, they give us the necessary support to be able to do Kitsap Literary Artists and Writers Showcase. And Kitsap Literary Artists and Writers, we exist to try to help people become published, finish their books, their films, their paintings, whatever type of art they work. And then we try to find venues for them to present it, book signings, craft fairs, things like that. This show here will be broadcast on Comcast Channel 12 and Astound Channel 3 or Digital Channel 70 on Saturdays at 6 p.m. once I have it edited and everything. My publisher, Blue Forge Press, actually does the editing for me. So without their, and of course the Bremerton Kitsap Access staff, this show wouldn't be created. We exist in CLAW to help all types of artisans. We don't charge dues. We don't have any fees. Basically, what we try to do is get everybody together and we exchange all of our horror stories so that people don't wind up doing and making the same mistakes that we made. So we meet the first and third Wednesdays of every month at the Denny's on Kitsap Way. And the official meeting started around 7 p.m., but usually a bunch of us are there earlier to stuff our faces and kvetch a little bit. So hopefully everybody out there in the viewing public enjoys this presentation that we have for Kitsap Lady Riders and Riders. And please, if you ever think about writing, painting, filmmaking, we don't care. Stop by one of our meetings and connect with people with similar interests. And with that, I hope everybody out there in the BCAT public in the viewing audience has an excellent day and a very productive week and year. Good day.